Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Rajanta. Welcome to Demystify with Ajay. Dear friends, in this session, we set the stage with the four foundational category of SQL commands, each tailored for a different aspect of managing data and databases. Let's begin with the star of today, structured query language. Yes, dear friends, SQL is the language that lets us interact with database, whether that means creating table, updating records, giving our user permission, or securing data transaction. Yes, these SQL commands are grouped into four categories. The first one, yes, it is the most important data definition language. These commands let you define or modify database structure. You use a create, alter, drop, and truncate here. And next comes the data manipulation language. Yes, dear friends, this is your everyday toolkit to interact with the data itself. And here we just make use of select, insert, update, and delete. Next, it is all about data control language. Dear friends, this category manages who has access to what. And here grant and revoke, yes, help us set privileges. And last but not least, transaction control language. This group ensures data consistency. With commands like commit and rollback, it allows you to treat multiple changes as a single atomic action. Dear friends, these categories form the foundation of everything we do in SQL. From this point forward, yes, you will not only know the commands, you will know when and why to use each one. Let me dive into the first major category, data definition language. Dear friends, DDL, of course, it is the one helps you build and reshape your database structure. This is where you create table, modify column, remove objects, and organize the data layer itself. Create table, yes, use it to create new objects like tables, indexes, views, stored procedures, and triggers. And when it comes towards alter, yes, makes changes to existing structure. Want to add a new column or change a data type? Of course, alter, the command is your friend. And next it comes the drop, yes, deletes database objects permanently. And here be conscious, this wipes both structure and the data. Next it comes towards the truncate. Yes, dear friends, removes all rows from a table quickly but keeps the structure intact. Last but not least, the comment used to add helpful nodes inside the data dictionary, often used for documentation. After defining your data structure with the DDL, next logical steps is working with the data inside your table. Yes, that's where data manipulation language comes in. Dear friends, DML deals with adding, changing, viewing, or deleting actual records. And here there's the select query. Yes, this is your window into the database. It helps you retrieve data based on your needs. You can pull all rows, filter with conditions, or perform calculation. And of course, once on creating the table, of course, you have to insert records. Yes, use it to add new rows. For example, adding a new student record into the student table like that. So next, it all comes towards the update. Want to change any columns as like phone number or salary for an employee? Of course, use update with a var class to target specific rows. And here is the one, delete. Dear friends, removes data, but again always use it with care. Without a var class, it will wipe an entire table. And here, dear friends, this exact DML operations can be rolled back using transaction control commands. Yes, which we will explore the next. And dear friends, think data manipulation language as the everyday working tool. Okay, next it comes towards data control language. This category may only include a couple of commands, but it play a vital role in database security. The first one, it is what? The grant. Yes, it gives access right to the user. For example, if you want to let a user view or insert data into a table, of course you can use the grant. And next, it is all about revoke. Yes, removes previously granted permission. These are especially critical in enterprise applications where data access must be managed carefully. And think banking system or multi-user application. And dear friends, DCL ensures that only the right people can access or change data, preserving data confidentially and preventing unauthorized updates. As a database developer or administrator, this is used as security sealed. And of course, finally, let's explore the most powerful SQL category, TCL, that is Transaction Control Language. This helps manage transaction groups of SQL operations that must either all succeed or all fail together. So this ensures data consistency. Kindly just observe, commit, save changes permanently to the database. Once committed, changes are visible to all users. Next, it comes the rollback. Yes, reverses changes since the last commit. Ideally, when an error occurs mid-operation. And next, it's all about save point. Yes, creates a checkpoints so you can roll back to a specific point instead of undoing everything. And last but not least, set transaction. It configures isolation level or other setting for a transaction. And dear friends, this exact transaction are essential in real world scenario, like transferring money. Yes, you can't allow a withdrawal to happen unless the deposit happens too. And dear friends, using this TCL ensures your system stays atomicity, consistent, isolation and durability. Yes, the property and principle of as-it compliance. Before we create effective tables, we must understand data types. So these define what kind of data a column can store. And most database categories data types into string data type, that is used for text like name or addresses or email. And next, it is all about numeric data, is used for numbers, integers, decimals, or as like amount or prices like that. And temporal data is used for dates and times, and mainly as like date of birth or timestamps. And last but not least, large objects. So used for storing huge data like resumes, images or videos. Difference, choosing the correct data type is not just about accuracy. It's about storage, efficiency and performance. Let's begin with fixed length string. Difference, here let me just have a character of n. So this is a data type, reserve n characters in memory, no matter how short your string actually is. And here you are just specifying character of 50 and you are just providing and storing it only this Hariharan, the word, and it just has 9 letters and remaining 41 spaces are padded. So here this exact string still takes up 50 characters. And kindly just observe dear friends, use this char, the data type, only when you expect values to be the same length every time, as like country codes, which it just has character of 2. Or if you are just specifying anything as like a gender, of course it has character of 1. And even if you are just making use of more than like this, of course it wastes space if used incorrectly. And comparison can get tricky due to trailing spaces. And dear friends, avoid using this char for long or unpredictable strings. For those we use a varchar. Of course, we are just going to discuss the next. Here comes the variable length string data. This data type stores variable length strings up to a defined maximum. It uses only as much memory as needed for each entry. And for an example, for here, kindly just see here the same n. Possibly, let I just assign a column name with a varchar of 50. So even if you just store the same thing as for Ajay, yes, it takes up only 4 characters. And to the previous one, as like Harigaran, yes, it exactly only stores only 9 efficient and clean characters. And dear friends, all string data must be enclosed with a single quotes. And here varchar can reduce storage use when string length varies widely. And dear friends, avoid using varchar for identifiers. They are consistently short, and for that use this char of, okay, that is the character instead. And next, let me just explore numeric data types, essential for storing quantities or as like price or IDs and more. And dear friends, this SQL supports various numeric types. And here are the most one, yes, of course, decimal used for fixed point number. Like if I just specify 123.45. Yes, of course, great for accounting or precision calculation. Next, it comes towards the float. Yes, for approximate number. Not ideal for currency due to rounding errors. And next, it comes towards the integer with a size. Yes, stores the whole number. And here, size may define precision or storage space. And that's too depends on each DBMS. And let's coming towards this money. Yes, a specialized type mainly supported in SQL Server for currency values with 2 decimals. And last but not least, the number. So a general purpose numeric type in database management system can handle integer and decimals. And dear friends, always choose the smallest numeric type that supports your range. This keeps your table lean and improves performance. Now let me just move into temporal and large object data types next that help us store dates and times. That is what's said to be temporal. And dear friends, in SQL, handling time related data is crucial, whether you are managing employee records or booking systems or e-commerce transaction. You are almost always dealing with when something happened. And here SQL supports 3 primary types. Yes, the first one is date. So store just the date as like example 20, 25, 06 and 26 like that. And here we have the same in time. Yes, stores just the time, and towards the example 14 hours, 30 minutes and 20 seconds. Date time combination. Actually, it is specified as like a timestamp. So combines date and time into one. So here it just comes with the exact date. So with year, month and day, and combining with hours, minutes and seconds as one single data. And dear friends, use date when only the day matters, like a date of birth or a date of joining. And here for this timestamp for precision tracking, like when a transaction occurred. And in systems with user across time zones, always store time in UTC format and convert it on an application level. Also remember, functions like sysdate or current timestamp are useful for default values in these columns. Okay, now let's talk about large data object. Different, sometimes we need to store more than just a text or numbers, as like yes, images, anything as like PDF files or videos, or even long articles or like resume something. And for this, SQL provides 2 things. Yes, one is character large object, shortly specified as like CLOBs. So stores large blocks of text such as blog content or article. And here it just comes the next, it is binary large objects, which is shortly specified as like BLOBs, stores binary data as like images or files, mainly with multimedia. And yes, dear friends, these logs can slow down performance if overused. So consider storing files in cloud storage or file system and just keep the file path in the database. And here in enterprise application, handling logs efficiently is essential for scaling. Let me explore the foundational data definitional language commands in SQL. The tools that let you create, alter, and delete database structures like tables and schema. Difference whether you are building a database from scratch or managing one in production, mastering DDL is the first step in becoming a skilled SQL developer. Before you run any SQL command, make sure you are working inside the right database. And here the use command, use testdb, set your active database context. By typing here this use testdb, you are telling the SQL engine, yes, all my commands apply to the testdb database. Difference, you only need to run this use testdb only once per session. Most GUI based tools like MySQL Workbench or phpMyAdmin show the current database in the UI, but in scripts or terminal, this command is critical. So if the database doesn't exist yet, you will get an error. So make sure you have created it using create database and the database name. So let me just execute this, and here the database is created, and observe, of course, we just got this database. So don't forget, always start your SQL script with this use statement to ensure you are targeting the right database. In our case, it is testdb. So let us execute this. So here we go. And dear friends, to build your database or tables from the ground up, yes, the create command is where it all starts. So it's used to define a new table or database or any database objects. So let's see how create a table with meaningful constraint. This is what the exact syntax. So create table, table name, and from this you are just including all the columns with data types and its size. And dear friends, here we have the exact example. Let I execute it and let you show that. So kindly just observe, dear friends, this exact defines a table creation, the exact table name as like a student. And kindly just observe, here we have 4 columns, that is and here register number, it has an 10 character variable length string and a fixed length character field of 50, and a date of birth with a data type date, and address, of course, 50 character strings. So let me execute this and create the table. So here we go. So the table is created, and kindly just observe, we have a table and student, and yes, we have the columns with register number, name, date of birth, and address. And dear friends, always define constraints like not null or primary key at this stage for better integrity. Different SQL dialects as like MySQL or Oracle or Postgre may vary slightly in syntax, especially regarding the data types like varchar or varchar2 or character like this. And here creating table is like laying the foundation. So get this step right and everything else will stand solid. Now let's get practical again with another DDL command, that is how to use alter statement. Suppose we already have a table. Of course, previously we have just created student, and we want to add new data points as like age or mark 1 and mark 2. And here is the exact syntax. Kindly just observe, alter table and table name. Of course, our table name is student, and we want to add the columns and kindly specify the data types too. So see here, alter table and table name is student, and I just want to add 3 columns. And here the exact column age, which integer of two numbers, mark 1 with integer of 3 and mark 2 also integer of 3. And let I just execute. So once done, and kindly just observe. So here we just got this. So this add 3 new columns, age, mark 1 and mark 2 to the existing table. And dear friends, always check if the new column will have the default value or allow null. And if you are working in production system, document any schema changes carefully and adding columns in common. But when your application evolves, but use it wisely, schema changes should be managed carefully in multi-user environment. Now, next it is all about alter, and I just want to modify. Now, let me just see how to change the structure of an existing column using this alter table keyword. Dear friends, we have already seen that is created a table that is with the student name, and the table currently defined as the name with character of 50. But we want to make it as varchar 60 for better flexibility. So here I have just provided alter table name. I just want to modify the particular column and the column name with the data type. So here let me just explore that. So here we just go. So alter table name, modify name varchar 60. And kindly just observe, previously the exact name column, it was a character and with 50 the length. And here once after executing this, observe what happens. So it just changed to varchar 60. And dear friends, you can only modify a column if existing data still fits the new definition. And you can change data types, size, limits, or even add not null constraints during modification. Especially in large data set, use it caution, because schema changes can be slow or risky in active systems. And this is a part of evolving your schema as your application grows. Now let's look how to remove a column from a table using this alter table statement. Suppose we no longer need the column mark 2 in our student data or student table. So in such a case, I just want to delete. Okay, I just want to delete by using this, and for dropping, that is deleting the column, I have to use a drop command. So let me just explore that. So here alter table student, I want to drop the column. Of course, only the column name is sufficient here. There is no need of types, data types and all. So before executing, kindly just observe, we have a mark 2 with an integer data type, and once done, so once on execution, kindly just observe here of course you are able to see that is the mark 2 column has been dropped. Dear friends, kindly just keep it in mind, this operation is destructive. Once a column is dropped, the data is gone. If any other column or index depends on this column, the drop will fail. And always backup data before altering structures, especially when dropping fields. And in some databases, dropping a column may log the table temporarily. Avoid running such commands during peak business hours. Now we just discuss about truncate. So truncate table, a command often confused with delete. But here's the difference. Dear friends, truncate removes all the rows from the table instantly while keeping the table structure and columns intact. And here, of course, nothing, a simple keyword. So that is truncate table and to the table name. And dear friends, of course, still now we have not included any of the records or rows. So even though if we just include this, there is no longer of use. So if you have included any records and then once on giving this truncate, of course, it just delete only the records, that is removes all the rows from a table instantly. So kindly just see here. So here we just specify table, but zeros rows affected because we don't have any records or rows to get it deleted. And yes, dear friends, it's faster than delete, but no row by row logging, and it cannot be rolled back in most system, and it risks auto increment counter in some database, of course in our MySQL also, and use it only when you want a fresh table without the overhead of dropping and recreating. Next, let me just move on. Rename. Dear friends, you don't want to delete a table sometimes and you just want to rename it. Yes, that's where the rename statement comes in. And kindly just observe, dear friends, here the rename old table name to new table name. So that is what a very simple command here. So let I just execute that. So kindly just observe here, rename table name, that is this is old table name, so which we are currently having as like student, and the new table I just want to make it as stud. Okay, so let I just convert this, and before that kindly just observe we have only one table, that is student, and here is the table name and these are the exact columns. And once on executing this, so observe here our table has now been as stud, and the same structure follows. If you want to something restructuring your schema for clarity, of course you can make use of this rename to a table, new to a table name, and you are migrating from a temporary name to a final one, of course you can use this rename. And last but not least, if you want to achieve old data with versionized name, of course this is very much useful. And dear friends, make sure no other queries or views are using the old name when renaming. Avoid renaming critical table without syncing with developers or BI teams. So rename is a non-destructive way to update your schema without losing data. Let's now explore the drop table statement, one of the most powerful and irreversible command in SQL. And it is very simple. Yes, a drop table and table name. Dear friends, if you just specify this alone, yes, it is used to completely remove a table from the database. And it's very simple also. And yes, it just delete the structure, all the data inside, any constraint or indexes tied to it. Yes, that also would just delete it. And once dropped, the table is gone permanently, unless you have backed it up. So let I just execute this. So in such a case, here let I just drop the table, and kindly just observe we have only one table, stud. So we recently we have renamed it. So once again, so once on deleting, kindly just observe, yes, the table gone here and here too. During cleanup of absolute tables, or when resetting a schema during development, or for recreating a corrupted table structure, yes, you can make use of this drop table statement. Okay, now let me dive into data manipulation language. Difference the set of commands used to insert records or update or retrieve and delete the data from database tables. Yes. While data definition language defines the structure, this data manipulation language is what brings the data to life. So from simple insert to complex conditional updates, this exact session equips with everything you need to manipulate data efficiently and safely. Okay, now let me move from defining tables to working with actual data. So starting with the select command. So dear friends, this select command would let you read data from tables. It's the most frequently used command in all of SQL. And here there is two types of styles. One is specific column. See here I just specify select only name and age from this student table. And if you want everything, all the fields, of course, you can just make use of this star, that is all. So select all from this table name. And dear friends, kindly just observe, dear friends, here in our table student, we have all the columns as like register number, name, date of birth, address, age, and mark 1. But if I provide select name, age from student, of course, I am just going to extract only the name and age from this student table. So kindly just see here, only name and student would be extracted. And here, dear friends, avoid select star. Mainly if I just provide select star from this table name in production query, it can be slower and less secure. Always filter using this with var class when possible to avoid loading unnecessary data. And here, dear friends, this exact select is like ordering from a restaurant menu. You specify what you want and the database serves only those items. And next, it is all about insert data. Yes, dear friends, it is time to insert our data into our table. And here on towards insert, kindly just see here, dear friends, this exact insert, there are so many various syntaxes there. So first one, insert into table name, and I have to provide this keyword values, and then I have to sequentially provide the values. And observe how you have created the exact sequence of the table. Of course, the values also has to be the same order. And once on executed, of course, if you just provide only one row, yeah, it just shows one row will be created. And of course, you can purposely include a null also in this data. And in such a case, if you just provide, see, this is only first two values alone. In such a case, if you just provide these two values alone, of course, it won't get it done because you have to specify what is the exact column you have inserted. So if you just want to insert partially, yes, you have to specify insert into the table name, and here what are all the values. Of course, here I'm just going to give the register number and name. So that register number and name, and towards that value 103, and this is. And suppose if you want to do any bulk, yes, that also is possible. So let me just explore that here. So this is what our table. So kindly just see here, when on just providing this, we don't have any records. So let me just insert our first record by providing this, and on execution, kindly just observe one rows affected. And yes, you can also have a look on towards by providing by executing this select name, age from the student. So see here, this is what the first record we have inserted, and we just got only this name and this age. And yes, dear friends, you can also insert a null here. So by purposely pausing null to one of the values, yes, you can just. So here also it can be done. And if you want to insert a bulk values, so kindly just be conscious to the same order you have to provide here. So let I just execute this, and kindly just see here, for a single click, I'm just going to insert three set of records. So once on execution, observe here, we have 3 rows affected. So let me just have a look on towards this. So select star from the student, and if I just execute, and of course we have totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records. And always validate your data type matches. So dates, numbers and strings must be compatible. And consider when on just using a bulk data, that is you can also give us like insert all or load data features depending on your database management system. Now the var class is one of the most important tool you will use in SQL. Yes, it lets you filter data from your tables. So you only retrieve rows that match specific condition. See, when I'm just using in select, of course, if I just provide this var condition, of course, it just only provide you, or it just retrieves only the rows which have or which satisfies this var condition. So here select column 1, column 2, that is only the specific columns I want to extract, and here from the table name and with var condition. When on just providing this select star from table name, of course we just got all the records, and in such case if I just provide only with var condition, kindly just see here dear friends, here I'm just going to have only this one. Or in such a case, if I see here I have so many Alexa, so let I just make use of that, where name is equal to this. So once on execution, I just need, I have provided all, that is select star. So it just provides all the fields which it just has Alex as its name. So this is what. And dear friends, of course, here make use of the request, all the fields or specific fields, and we just make use of this var condition by using equality as like equal symbol or not equal symbol. And you can also have a comparison as like greater than or less than, or greater than equal to, less than equal to, or logical operations and or not, patterns like or percentage and underscore. These are all pattern matching. And of course you can also include set membership as like in or between. So yes dear friends, these are the exact function that go with this var condition. And yes, the more specific your var class, yes of course, the faster and cleaner your query result. Okay, next let me just check with the update statement. Yes, your tool to modify existing table. Dear friends, here it is the exact command, update table name, and our table name, it is the student, and I just want to set my column data value. I'm not going to have the modification of columns name or column data types. It is the value of that column. And if you want to make any related, any updation related towards the structure, of course you have to use alter. But here the value I just need. So kindly just observe this exact update would just change or modify only the value, and where what the value you want to set, that it would be provided in the set column, and of course provide with var condition. Dear friends, if I just provided like this, update student name, where set name as Alfred, age is equal to 15, that is 15, where register number is equal to 103. This command updates the name and age only for this exact student, which the register number is 103. So let me just make use of this, and I think so we don't have 103. So let I just use something as like 105. So kindly see here, this 105, the name is Alex, and towards the age here it is 34. I just want to set the name as Alfred and age as 15. For the exact register number of 105, and kindly just observe once on execution. So here if I just select star from student, so kindly just see here the 105, the register number 105, the name is Alfred, and the age here it is 15 is updated. And dear friends, always include a var class unless you intend to update every row. It is very much important. Forgetting the var class could result in massive data error. And yes, you can use this update by using anything. You can just update any columns or columns values, or if you want to change any order status or correcting users typo error, yes of course you can use it, but within the set, of course you have to provide with a var class that is mainly conscious. Now next let me just move on to the delete statement, and yes of course it just helps you remove records from the table. Dear friends, the syntax is very simple. Delete from table name. And if you just provide simply delete from and towards the table name, of course it just deletes all the records. So this exact commands will remove every row from the table. But unlike truncate, it logs each row deletion and can usually be rolled back using rollback command. And dear friends, kindly just be conscious when on using this delete. So provide with where condition. This is very much essential. So most often you will want to delete specific records, not everything. That is what where condition comes in to play with this delete command. And kindly just observe, let I just go towards this execution. So yes, here if I just specify delete from the student, this alone, of course it just delete all the rows. If I just execute this alone, of course it just delete all the rows and the exact data would be gone. So in such a case, if I just want to do only for a specific, yes, here I have just provided the student with register number 105. I want to delete that exact record. Once on executing, kindly just observe, yes, delete from this done, one row is affected. So in such a case, if I just want to check here, kindly just observe, so that 105 has been deleted. And dear friends, this will be used when you want to remove any inactive user, or if you want to cancel any order or cleaning up some test entries. Of course, that would be fine. But as always, double check your where condition. A small typo can wipe out more data than intent. And here, before executing this delete, before deleting, kindly just make use of this select query and then delete it. This is of course, that's your safety net before running any destructive command. Dear friends, SQL constraints are rules enforced on table columns to maintain data accuracy, integrity, and reliability. Whether you are preventing nulls or enforcing uniqueness or creating relationship between tables, yes, constraints form the core of your database design. So let me just explore all major constraint types with the syntax, use cases, and best practice. So let's begin our deep dive into constraints. So starting with the one of the most basic but essential one, yes, the not null. Dear friends, in SQL, not null ensures that a column must always has a value. It cannot be left blank. So some data fields are critical for business logic. For an example, an employee's name, a product's price, or a customer's email address. So leaving them empty could break your application or lead to inaccurate reporting. So here, if I just provide only the table with like this, create table, and towards the Aadhaar a number, here it is not null. And here salary number not null. Yes, of course, an employee should have an Aadhaar number. And of course, that exact employee, if he or she is an employee, surely a salary is provided. So this ensures that every employee must have an Aadhaar number and the salary. On inserting a row with a null name null Aadhaar number or a salary 0, yes, would result in error. And kindly, dear friends, use this not null on fields that are mandatory. Even you can combine it with other constraints like unique or default for stronger ruler. And next, it is up to default constraint. Dear friends, this one is a real-time saver where you are inserting data. And here default provider an automatic value for a column. If no value is supplied during the insert, yes, you can use this with default. And kindly just see here, dear friends, we just want an employee's gender to be default as F. So maybe this exact company, if they didn't provide any gender, of course, they would be a female employee. So in such a case, yes, if you didn't provide anything and observe here, here we are just going to have only one character. In such a character, if you didn't provide any value, defaultly it would be filled with F. So the status will be auto filled with F as gender. And where to use is, of course, yes, to maintain consistency or to reduce the need for null check or to simplify insert statement. This default value can be provided. Now let's talk about unique constraint. Dear friends, your safeguard against duplicate values. So it ensures that all values in a column are different from each other. Of course, kindly just observe here we have only one column in such a way as Aadhaar. That number isn't unique. And if someone tries to insert the same Aadhaar number twice, of course, SQL will throw an error. And dear friends, this table can have multiple unique columns also. Unlike primary, unique allows one null value in most database. This exact unique, not only here, you can also separately provide it to the bottom as like last constraint. So this is the column and here you are providing the unique constraint. This is also is possible. And dear friends, kindly just observe here, this one you can also combine two columns like first name and last name can also be combinedly unique. I'm not specifying first name is unique and last name is unique. No, combiningly first and last name should be unique. This can also be possible. And dear friends, use unique when you need strict identity, but don't need to use it as a table's primary identifier. Next, let me just move on to the primary key. Dear friends, one of the most critical constraints in any table is the primary key. And the primary key uniquely identifies each row in this table. It combines the rule of not null and unique. So no duplicates and no empty values. And dear friends, every employee must have, of course, even every person has an Aadhaar number, unique Aadhaar number, unique ID. And here, of course, as for SSN number, yes, for Indian, it is an Aadhaar number. And no two persons or no other persons would have the same ID. Each and every person, individuals, as an unique. So that is what the Aadhaar number. And a table can have only one primary, but it can be composite, meaning it spans multiple columns. See, as like this unique, yeah, of course, you can also combine this first name and last name to be as a primary key. Yes, you can possible. Different primary key or the backbone of a relational database. So they form the basis for relationship indexing and data retrieval. And as I have already specified, so this primary key, you can also have multiple keys. And here, this primary key, as previously, here we have just specified unique as a separate constraint. Yes, here also this primary key can also be separately specified. This syntax is also allowable. Multiple column combining towards the primary key, yes, it is very much important, as it benefits to prevent duplicate combination, and it also captures real world relationship. And mainly if you just use of this composite key as your primary key, yes, it is useful in many to many junction relation. And very much importantly, all columns in a composite key must be not null by default. Foreign key. Dear friends, this is also one among the powerful constraints that ties relation database together by using foreign key. And this foreign key is used to create a link between two tables. It enforces a rule that the value in one table must exist in another. And here, kindly just observe this exact table, and it just defines about the table department. And here we have department that is the number, department number, name of the department and manager ID of this department as its column. And here this department is what the primary key. And how this has been referenced, of course, kindly just observe, dear friends. Once this exact table has been created with the primary key, that department alone, it can be referenced in our next table, in another table as like reference. In such a case, so kindly just observe. So this is what the foreign key, and I have to reference, yes, here if I just specify DEPT number, yes, the same department is specified as like a foreign key, reference from the department table, where in the department table also it has the same value, that is the column name as like DVPT. Kindly just observe, dear friend. I just want to create this one, create table, and as I have already specified, so here we have this employee ID as our primary key, and this varchar name as not null, and the email, of course, that is also an unique. And here I have just specified department ID, it is an integer, and I'm just going to give this as an foreign key referenced from department table. And of course, till now we have not yet created department table. So kindly just see here, we have only one table as student. Okay, so now let me just create this with the table name employee. Kindly just observe what happens. So see here, fail to open the reference table department because there is no department table. So if you want to reference, of course, you have to create the table, then only you can able to reference here. So now let I just create the table department. Yes, done. So observe, here we have the table department, and once done, yes, then if I just execute this, so kindly just observe, let me just create it and see, now it happens. And yes, so here we have employee, and observe this employee ID is a primary key, and we have a unique email, and now this department ID is a foreign key towards this department number in department. And dear friends, when every time a row is inserted in this table employee, yes, SQL checks if the department value exists in this department table, yes or no. If not, it throws an error. And dear friends, this prevents invalid departments from being assigned. And always make sure that the reference column, that is the department here, okay, is a primary key or has a unique constraints in this parent table, that is in this department table. Let's take our foreign key constraint a step further with delete cascade. Yes, dear friends, by default, if you try to delete a parent row in this department, for an example, kindly see here, what happens to an employee in the department 312 when that exact department 312 is removed from the department table. So that is, if you try to delete parent row that referenced in another table, that is in employee table, SQL will block the deletion. But with on delete cascade, that is on delete cascade, yes, it automatically deletes the related child's record. It also automatically removes all the things which have the same department number in employee also. And dear friends, use this with caution because it's powerful and irreversible. Because using cascade only when data is truly disposable. And it's great for maintaining clean relationship between parent and child tables, so without manual intervention. And here, for an example, here if I just have a table, okay, so this is my employee table, and here let me just have the department table. In such a case, suppose if you are trying to insert a row in this employee with a department value that doesn't exist here. So here, let I just have, this is my department number. If it doesn't have, And if I purposely provide the department as like 14 or 15, if I just try to insert here, of course, SQL would throws an error, will rise an error. And this SQL way of maintaining referential integrity, of course, a promise that no value will exist in a child table unless it exists in this parent. Okay, and yes, let we have our table as employee 1, and kindly just observe here we have the employee number, e-name, job, salary, gender, department. Okay, so in such a case, let I just go with this is what employee underscore 1. Okay, and yes, this is what the employee number, employee name, and about the job, and this is the salary. Let we have the gender and the department. Okay, so let I include, that is insert a row in this employee 1. Okay, so one row has been inserted. So I just want to include another row here. So let I just execute. Yes, another row has been included. So dear friends, kindly just observe here one more rows I just include. So here we have another, but here when on just creating this table, we have specified this as like not null. Of course, this not null is specified that it should not be a null. But here we forcefully provide this as like null. The name is in null. What happens? Yes, the SQL would just throws an error. So observe, when I just provide this, the SQL would rise an error. So column email, so e-name cannot be null. Column e-name cannot be null. Okay, so now let me just move on to the next one, check condition. Dear friends, here let's now explore one of the most flexible and logical SQL constraint, that is check constraint. And a check constraint allows you to define a custom condition that data must be met before it can be inserted or updated in a column. So it acts like a built-in gatekeeper, preventing invalid or out of range data from entering your table. And dear friends, this check constraints ensure that your business logic is enforced at the database level, not just in the application level. Okay, so now let I just provide one thing. So here we have two check conditions here. One particular thing what I have specified is, yes, salary that has to be greater than 10,000. This is one. And second, you can just say character 1. If you have entered anything from A to Z, would it just accept? Yes, of course. If you didn't provide this check condition, of course, it just accept anything from A to Z. And even if you didn't provide, it just takes it towards F. But if you are able to, or if you are just providing, of course, it accepts A to Z, any one character here. But kindly just observe, for a gender, it has to be anything as within male or with female. So for female, it has to be F, and for male, it has to be F. That has to be done in your employee record. And here, suppose your company has a policy that no employee should earn less than 10,000. Yes, you can enforce that directly in your table design itself. That is, it should be greater than 10,000. Dear friends, this ensures that invalid values are caught before they corrupt your data. So you can combine multiple conditions also. So as like gender is equal to M, or salary that is greater than is equal to 10,000. Or you can also specify salary that is greater than 10,000 and salary that is less than to be 1 lakh. That is can also be, you can specify that. But anyhow, whenever you specify this particular condition, be aware that each and every SQL that when on trying to insert, it just checks the entry and it will reject the entry because if we are not providing that condition. Dear friends, actually here we have just seen when we violate the constraints. So first previously we have just given this null. Of course the name, it should not be null. Actually it is declared as not null. So here we just got the fail. But now again I'm just going to give one more. So kindly just observe here this particular insert. I have just provided insert into employee one values, and towards the salary here it is specified as like 9,000, and of course you are already know the salary always should be greater than 10,000. Yes, this will fail because salary is below the check condition, that is the check constraint. So kindly observe once on execution, as I am violating the, yes, once on executing, see kindly just the check one is violated. Dear friends, always validate data in the front end or import logic before inserting. Or better yet, let your constraint act as a safety net. Dear friends, these examples show the value of constraint. They preserve the integrity of your database automatically. So yes, dear friends, this exact constraints not only ensures cleaner data but saves time by reducing the need for error handling at the application level. Now let me just we have looked down how to structure data with constraints. Now let's explore how to process and transfer data using SQL built-in function. Dear friends, SQL offers a powerful set of functions to perform calculation or to format or manipulate strings, convert data types, aggregate and summarize values, and work with the dates and times. And here, yes, of course, we have common function categories as like numeric function, string function, conversion function, aggregation function, and data function. Think of these as your built-in toolbox, so helping you work smarter with the data. We will now explore each category starting with numeric function. Dear friends, these are used for mathematical operations inside your SQL queries. Okay, so here, first of all, let me just look on to the select ABS, that is absolute value. It just returns that absolute value of anything. If I just provide minus 25, kindly just observe, or minus 26, kindly just observe on returning this. So we just get only the absolute value. And if I just specify and if I just need a reminder of a division, yes, I can just make use of mod of, that is mod of a comma b. So in such a case, if I just provided mod of 10 comma 3, okay, so it just provide only the reminder of this division because this provide modulus of 10 comma 3. So here we just have the reminder 1. And dear friends, to round the numbers to a specific number of decimal, yes, you can just use select round off, and kindly just observe the first one, it is all about number, and second to the decimal point. Okay, so for this number, let I just provide the number as like 15.423 like this. Okay, and here I just want to round it towards 2 decimal points. So kindly just observe what it happens. So here it just rounds towards 2 decimal point. Okay, now let I just go with select ceiling, that it returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to that number. So if I specify select ceil of this number and the closest one, so 3.1. So observe what it happens. So the ceiling of this is 4. So it is the greater than integer that is greater than this, or the smallest integer greater than or equal to that of number. So that is ceil. And you can also make use of one more thing, that is floor, which it just provide. Let I just provide the same thing, 3.1. So it just returns the largest integer less than or equal to that of number. So observe here, 3. And dear friends, these are all mainly used in financial calculation, that is rounding prices or taxes. And of course, this absolute and ceiling, it is mainly used in billing purpose. And yeah, most of the thing, this can be used in statistical queries also, combining functions to calculate and format values in a single step. It mainly used for cleaner queries and fewer bugs. Now let me just move on towards string functions in SQL. Different string functions help us manipulate, clean and format text like names or emails or descriptions. So these are especially useful in reporting or data validation or formatting result. And of course, dear friends, yes, here the mostly used string, it is all about concatenation to join two or more strings. And here, of course, you can just go with substring is there, lower and upper, that is changing the case is there. And of course, we have the trim, which you just remove the unwanted spaces. Okay, so these functions are used in select, where or order by class to make data more readable or conditionally filter records. So in such a case, let I just place this select. So concat of two strings, let I just make it here. Okay, so the first string, it is all about Ajay. Okay, and the second string, let I just give it with Devi. And here I am just going to include one more thing with the space inside. So once after executing, kindly just observe here. So Ajay, and here a space is also included and the Devi is also there. So this function joins two or more strings together, not only two strings. Here you can also have two or more strings. You can also combine columns here also. In such a case, if you are just specifying anything with first name or last name, of course, that can also be possible by using select concatenate first name. So select concatenate first name and last name here. But when you just provide within quotes, of course, it just take it as like a value. If you are just specifying the column, kindly just don't specify it within a quotes. Okay. And now let I just go with select length. So this exact length, it returns the number of characters in the string. So here, so if I just specify like this and kindly just observe, we have 7 characters. So that is what here. And here friends, this exact length is useful for validating minimum or maximum length of usernames or password. Okay, so these two functions, there is concat and there is length, is mainly used, often used together to create dynamic labels, export ready reports or filter based on character count. Okay, now let me have two very handy case conversion. Yes, of course, very much easy. So select if I just want to provide it in upper, so let I make it everything inside. Hello, what? Okay, so this one, it returns in uppercase. If the same thing, if I select lower, and kindly just observe here, we just get it in, it just returns in lower. So converting all characters in a string to uppercase and converting all the case towards lower. Yes, this one as standarding cases in report, used for standarding a case in report, and it is also used to perform case insensitive comparison and mainly to format output consistency also. These are small but powerful tools for improving data reliability and usability. Now let's dive it into powerful substring functions. And here kindly just observe, dear friends, this substr, actually it is a short of substring. Actually this function lets you extract a part of a string starting at a specific position and going for a defined number of characters. So let I just provide here with an example. So kindly just observe. So select, and I just provide here as a substring. Okay, and here inside I'm just going to give Demystify with Ajay. Okay, and in this kindly just observe, I'm just going to extract the substring from the position 1 till 9. Okay, kindly observe, this is the exact string, and from this, from position 1 I'm just going to extract 9 characters. Okay, and it just takes 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. So Demystify alone would just execute extracted, so it just return only the Demystify. So kindly just observe. And dear friends, this is very much useful to extract area codes from phone number or get initials from name or slicing parts of product codes. You can also use this substring to manipulate values dynamically during select code. And with this substring, yes, you can precisely control text extraction and tailor your data outputs on the fly. Let's now explore a key set of SQL tools that allow you to convert data between types, the conversion format. And here, dear friends, you can just convert a string into dates, from number into currency, turn numeric values into text for display. So here, yes, there are so many things is there. Here, there's a to_char, yes, it converts number or date to strings. And here, to_number, yes, converts string into numbers. Now we arrive at one of the most powerful category of SQL function. Yes, it is all about aggregation function. Dear friends, aggregation functions allow you to perform calculation on a group of rows, returning a single result. So these are the backbone of reporting or dashboards and analytics in SQL. So some of them things are as like average, count of, maximum, minimum, sum of. So these are just functions work best with the group by and having classes, which we will explore later. Okay, so yes, dear friends, so let's begin with this foundational aggregation function. So yes, let I just execute here. So select, okay, so sum of, if I just provide as like yes, I think we have already a column called salary. Okay, we have a column called salary, and I just want to make it as tot sal. And before executing, so let me just have what is there in employee. So the table name, it is employee 1. So let me just observe here. So these are the exact tables. So we have 1 2 3 such a columns, and one's on, yes, one's on summing that salary. So kindly just observe, this is what my table, and one's on executing. So I just it just return only one single value. And dear friends, you can also combine them with group by to calculate department wise or age wise, something much more extended version of report. Okay, so now let me just make use of a count function. Okay, so select count of from the table name and observe. So it just returns the number of rows or non-null values in a column. And yes, of course, kindly just observe when on providing this, we have one null column. So totally 1, 2, 3 columns are there. Sorry, 3 rows are there. When on just providing this, it just count only the non-nulls. Now here we just get as 3 rows are there. And even you can also provide this one. Once again. So here, count something specific column alone. So observe, dear friends, on this, if I just specify only the select salary of, this also it is possible. Only a specific column, that is also it is possible here. Okay, so these counts how many rows have a non-null salary. Of course, in our records, of course, everything it has. So even if it is having any null characters, of course, it just skip that and it just provide only the non-null salary. So counting total number of employees or finding how many products are there in the stock. So determining how many users filled out for a specific field. So everything, of course, this is mainly used to count unique values also. So very much important and useful. Yes. So let me just have this. Next one, it is all about max. So select max of salary from employee. And yes, who got the maximum? Yes, 22,000 is the highest. And let me just have the same thing for minimum also. So who just got the minimum salary? Yes, let me have, yes, it is 12,000. Okay, so it just returns the lowest value in a column, and here this max, it returns the highest value in the column. Okay, next it is all about date function. Yes, dear friends, time is a crucial dimension in data, and SQL provides a robust set of date function to help you work within. Whether you are dealing with joining dates or deadlines or expiry dates or time-based analytics, these date functions make it easy to manipulate and analyze data and time data. And if you want to calculate anything, age from the date of birth, or finding upcoming events, or adding time intervals to due dates, extracting month, year, or day parts, of course, this is very much commonly used for. And dear friends, SQL provides several built-in functions also, like sysdate, next date, add underscore month, month between, and last date. Always format your date output using this 2char functionalities when needed for reports. And in real world time, these functions have automate business logic around time, like employee probational period or recurring payments or even scheduling. So let me just explore this. And kindly just observe, dear friends, here in MySQL or PostgreSQL, you have to use now. So I just command this, and yes, of course, you have to use select now off. So to know this, let me execute, and yes, here it is the exact date. Of course, I'm just working till 12. Okay, good. And yes, always check your database date format setting to ensure consistency in output. And yes, dear friends, that we comes to end of day 3 of SQL, that master journey. Yes, where we didn't just learn the commands, we built a mindset of designing strong, dependable database. And dear friends, today you discovered how constraints serve and serve as guardian of data integrity, how built-in function enhances data insights, and how well-structured tables reduce error before they even happen. So you are now equipped to design your own relational tables. apply business rules using data constraints, and handle and format data like pro. Yes, in next session we will move into multi-table operations, including joins and relational queries. So the true power of SQL as a relational language. And dear friends, if this session helped you, give it a like, share it with our fellow learners, and comment below with your favorite constraint or function you learned today. Until next time, happy learning, dear friends.